Okay, nerd files about fleece length, rotating speed, brushes, a bunch of sort of open questions that probably need some clarification. So we've got these two different fleece lengths. We made this special handle that allows you to click into an impact driver and get high rotating speeds for relatively low money. So that begs the question, when do you want high rotating speeds? We have all these brushes. How does it all go together? So let's really briefly just discuss brushing rotating speeds. These things typically want to be turning in the 1800 to 2200 RPM range. That's kind of average high gear for a cordless drill. That's really appropriate for pretty much any rotor brush I've ever used. When you get higher speeds than that, they get a little violent and they just don't work as optimally. All rotor tools are made to work at relatively high speed and quite light pressure. They do best when the ends of the bristles or the fluff of the nap is working rather than trying to bury the thing onto the ski surface. So lighter pressure, higher speed, but brushes in that 18 to 2200 standard cordless drill range are really, really appropriate and good. Higher speed, they get a little too energetic, I think. The fleeces. Now, this is interesting. The shorter fleece, the 12 millimeter fleece, we first worked with to apply waxes. In fact, the very first fleece Davida made because we had recognized when we were testing with some old fleeces. This might be a Master Wax one. I've got fleeces from all over the place, but we found that the fleece was doing a good job on the liquids. So we made these, and very quickly Davida sent over some prototype products to try to apply with the fleece as well. Here are some of the early ones. Kind of interesting, lots of different viscosities, hardnesses, additives, tried a lot of stuff. That was all with these. And then he started playing with the fleece length, and he sent this 22 millimeter fleece. And what we came to realize over time is that the fleeces, like any brush, as they get longer, have a lighter hand, a lighter touch. It basically softens the nap. Same is true with brushes. When we're testing prototype brushes, I'm just looking for some here. We tried different lengths. So here, for example, is a unicorn brush with a 7 mil versus a 6 mil bristle length, and this was we like the 6 mil. So the longer brushes act softer, less aggressive. Same's true with the fleeces. The shorter fleece does really well with application. It carries the product and applies it well for applications that require a little more energy transfer. So, those blocks that you spin onto the fleece and then buff onto the ski, these are very efficient. The long-haired fleeces are really conceived to finish liquid film and hopefully maintain discrete film layers without mixing them too much. If you think about the material and the length of a brush contributing to create kind of a working depth, the shorter and stiffer the material is, the more you're going to work through the films on the ski and get to the base. The lighter and longer the material is, the more you're going to work lightly on the surface. And the purpose of these longer fleeces was to maintain the layer integrity so that we're building discrete layers rather than smearing everything together. So I'm going to attempt a couple demonstrations for rotating speed. I should back up. Long films, the long fleece, we have really liked at higher rotating speeds. And for application of the blocks, the short fleece does better at the standard 18 to 2200 RPM. Otherwise, it just flings the material everywhere. At 4,000 RPMs, you spin stuff off of these fleeces really fast. Great way to clean them. So we're going to try a little demonstration here. The first thing we're going to do is look at rotating speed. And I've got a ski. This has a layer of beta put onto it, and so there's metal additive in the wax here, and with with some work from the fleece, we should see the metal start to spread out. And this is a really good marker for us to see how the fleece is actually working on that wax film. If the metal kind of blooms, then we know that the fleece is doing quite a lot of work on the film. What do I mean by that? This metal stuff is kind of crazy. If we just put a little on the bench top and then work it, it starts to turn darker. And we also feel like that's happening to the wax. We want to work that wax film because it behaves differently from just a wax film applied and dried onto the surface. So here we go. What we're going to do first is we're going to run the long-haired fleece for finishing liquids at a low speed and then a high speed. And the question is, do you need high speed to finish the liquids? I can tell you the answer already. You don't. There are no rules here. You can use the short fleece for finishing liquids or the long fleece for finishing liquids, but there is a purpose to the design here, and we put these things together for a reason. And so I'm going to try to demonstrate what we've been feeling in terms of how these work, just with a couple little demonstrations. Okay, on my fancy expensive drill, my third gear is 1950 RPM. So quite representative of your standard cordless drill speed. Okay, so at 1950, I'm going to work in the tip, and I'm going to do like several passes back and forth as I normally would. Okay, now fourth gear, we get 3850. This is my favorite gear. Check that out. Oh, so cool. Look what it does to my fingers. Anyway, we're going to now work here at the higher speed and about the same amount of working time. Okay, let's take a quick look at what we got here. I don't know, maybe you can already see from there, but on the tip of the ski that we ran at standard cordless drill speed, you can see we've buffed the surface and we've kind of disappeared that film of wax, but you can really clearly see, I believe, when you get in here, that with the higher speed, we're doing quite a lot more work, quite a lot more quickly, and this seems to be a better application for the liquids. That high speed does serve a purpose, and so for finishing the liquids, this kind of film development seems efficacious. It seems fast on the snow, and so I hope this kind of illustrates the purpose of the high speed. Finishing the liquids is really the only place we use that high speed. Finishing liquids with these big fluffy brushes. Okay. Now, we also want to try to maintain discrete layers when we're layering up liquids. Maybe we don't. Maybe sometimes we want to mix them and we want to choose our tools accordingly, but let's try to see if we can make a demonstration of how these fleeces work when we're trying to maintain the layers. I'm going to change up the tooling here. What we have here is a ski that has a layer of beta applied. So this base is already stained by the beta. That beta material is down there. And then I've put a layer of clean next cold on top of it. And we're going to buff it with the long-haired fleece and the short-haired fleece. And my idea is this. If the waxes mix through, we're going to see the fleece start to pick up the black from the beta. This fleece started out clean. It was a white fleece like the others, and it's just been stained by that beta material, which happens really pretty rapidly. So, as a test to see whether we're maintaining discrete layers, we're going to use the long one and then the short one, and see if we pick up beta at higher or lower rates on those two. Okay, so first we'll do the long one. This again is high rotating speed. I think you can see that we didn't pick up much discoloration of the fleece at all. And now we're going to see if my theory is right, that this will do more active mixing. Okay, can you see that? I think that's kind of clear. We've definitely got some staining from the beta material on this short-haired fleece. Once again, that's because the shorter nap is more aggressive, it does more work, and it's going to mix those materials through. So, liquid finishing. If you want efficient finishing in a very thin film, maintaining discrete films on the ski, high speed, long hair fleece is a really, really good tool. If you want to mix your material together, the shorter fleece is going to do that to a greater degree. More aggressive, less aggressive. Long hair fleece, high speed for liquid finishing, I think is really good. Typically, we find our best results with more of a layering effect rather than a mixing effect. The mixing gets just a little messy. But yeah, I believe that the demonstration should help clarify in your mind how these different tools are meant to work and do operate. Short hair fleece, fantastic for application, and a pretty aggressive method for processing that film and mixing it down on the ski. And then, of course, if you really want to clean up in a hurry, the metal brush, whoop, I got that on the wrong way, it's directional. Steel brush makes pretty short work of all the surface films, and knocking it down to our standard speed. Gets us back down to clean pretty quick. Do we see it? I think we can see it. Good. All right, that was it.